Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again today at Antas Solutions Facebook Live for another live session where we talk about the latest updates and tricks and tips and tricks and tutorials and everything else under the umbrella of social commerce and e-commerce. And today we will be talking about product sourcing. What are the things to look out for and where can you source for your products? So, Hanis, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. So, yes, it's already coming to December, and most probably you'll be planning to do your sales for 2022. And for those who are starting out, that is usually the question that is posed to us when they come to our workshops. What do I sell? Especially when you don't have products yet. Right. So last week, or not actually last week, just 2 days ago, we were mentioning the pros and cons of drop shipping. So today we are going to speak more about, yeah, you can still drop ship, no issue. But if you are deciding to bring products in from another country, from a different supplier, from a manufacturer, bringing it into your country, or to just work with an external manufacturer and selling it in a different country, it's fine. You can do that. You can also actually make your own product. So there are a few options for you to consider. So the first thing that we want you to know is that when you decide what you want to sell, you should be wanting to use the product yourself. So for example, you're a runner, right? You will know what shoes, what attire, what fitness regime, what foods are great for you. So if you decide that you want to go into e-commerce and you want to sell these products, you would know these products best because you have already been using these products. You know what can be improved on, what complaints that what you are not happy with, and things like that. And also passion works because you are passionate about this hobby of yours, let's say running, and it will drive you because when you're running a business, any business, right, if you don't have the passion for what you sell, it's very hard to sell, right? So for me and Sarah, we are passionate about technology, we're passionate about e-commerce, social commerce. So we speak about these uh, topics, you can see that our faces just light up, and you want that for you as well. We want you to be able to sell something that you love to sell, right? So that's the first thing that we should be talking about. Finding the right product would be to create a product that you use yourself, that it solves a problem that exists. So don't just simply plug something. Hey, I think this plant will do great because it just looks nice, for example. And a little passion helps, right? And
Yeah.
I wanted to, want to share this with you. Yeah, Sarah, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, an example of someone who knows the product well and the business that became successful because the person knew the product so well is the creator of Spanx, the
Mm,
creator of Spanx, Sarah. When she started her undergarment wear, she discovered that the one that she was using wasn't great, wasn't good. And when she went to check out the manufacturers, they were all men. So
mm,
men making women product. Nothing wrong with that, but they
mm,
didn't know anything about it. They didn't even wear the products that they created. So
mm,
when Sarah came in, she tried the product and she could create something that she herself liked and felt good at. And I think that's one of the big reasons why her business was successful, because she knew the pain points, because she tried the product herself, other than all these men that were making women wear.
right. This is a very good example, actually. And another example I wanted to show was this. If you have seen this, when we travel, these neck pillows, I think they came into the picture like 5 6 years ago, right? They started to sell it in like Miniso and all those what the small shops, Japanese shops and things like that, with at a price range of like 10 ringgit or something like that. So yeah, it looks great and it's easy to just bring around, but there's another company that actually made a more comfortable version of it. If you can see this, they just changed the design a little bit, So instead of having this thing where you have to actually lean back, there's something that actually holds your neck here to support your neck, and it doesn't look horrible. It's comfortable to wear and is easily packed and shipped. So something like this, sometimes you don't have to completely reinvent the wheel. You just have to improvise something that's out there and make it better. And
Yeah, and also because when you sleep, you don't
mhm,
actually just fall the back, right? Sometimes you would fall forward like that when you sleep.
exactly. I think I fall forward
Keep
more than I
sitting.
fall backward. And I will fall sideways too. Like when we go, when we ride the LRT and things
Yes.
like that, right? You
Yep.
tend to just like not really backward because it's too awkward. So this works better. So another thing would be I'm not sure if you know who this lady is. Her name is Alison Felix. If you're not familiar, that's fine. Basically, she is a runner, right? That's why I've been talking a lot about running and things like that. So she actually burst into the running scene nearly 20 years ago. She was a high school superstar in California, and then she went on to win the World Championship silver medal at just 18 years old. And now she has actually 9 Olympic medals, breaking Usain Bolt's record for most won gold medals in World Championships. And she was qualified for her fifth Olympics at 35 years old. So she had a partnership with Nike, right? She appeared in promotions. She donned their logos on her baju, her tops, her shorts, everything, her sheen sleeves, anything that could be branded. She branded it with Nike. But she had a birth experience in 2018, which didn't go so well, right? It was a very stressful time for her, and it almost claimed her life and the life of her daughter. So she had an emergency section at 32 weeks. And during her recovery time, she attempted to renegotiate her contract with Nike, right? She advocated for maternal protections, that she wouldn't be penalized if she didn't do well when she went back on track. But
Mhm.
Nike refused to include the new clauses and actually offered a 70% pay cut. So this
Oh,
is
they offered
something.
a pay cut.
Exactly. Yeah. So this one is I'm not really talking about her creating a product because um actually she did create a product because there was a sudden need, right? So she couldn't work with Nike anymore because she did the values didn't match anymore. So what she did was she created her own range of shoes because obviously she's a runner and she knows what runners need. So she launched her product, which is called Sage. It's an athletic footwear for women by women. So she partnered with her brother. So it's not always women, women, women. You can work with men, no issue. And her
If you
business
know
partner.
if you do your customer research well.
Yes, exactly. So she and her business partner, her brother and her co-founder raised $3 million in seed funding, and now they're doing pretty well. So when it comes to this, is a sort of problem solving. Women need comfortable shoes. Shape of feet are different between men and females. Needs are different. The body is different. So if you are in this line where you can actually create products for different genders on a real need, that's there's a real demand for it, right? Another thing that I wanted to share was test the product before you sell it. So there are a lot of sellers who want the shortcut. One thing is because maybe they don't have the funds to travel to a different country to source for the product. A lot of things come from China, obviously. So there are factories, and different provinces have different items. So some provinces are known for their electronics, some provinces are known for their textiles or furniture or toys or things like that. So if you are not familiar with traveling to China and knowing their customs and culture and language, then it can be quite scary. So maybe that is a turn off for you. But there is an option where you can work with agents. You need to do your due diligence. You need to check out the agent's backgrounds, history and delivery promises and things like that, because you don't want to invest in somebody, send somebody there on your behalf, and then he cheats you of your money. So as a seller, you need to be talking to a community of sellers, people who have already traveled in your shoes and they know better than you. So what you need to do is, once you have a good agent, you have identified a good manufacturer or supplier, ask them to send you samples to try before you sell it. Because one problem is that sometimes you just base on trust, and when you depend on the supplier to directly sell, no, you depend on the supplier's word, right? You already say, okay, it's a good product. You buy it, you bring it into your country, and then you sell it, and then you suddenly get feedback from customers that this does not work, this is horrible, and then you get reviews, and that's when things just escalate out of control, right? So you want to be in control. You should be wanting to test the product before you sell it, especially when it comes to electronics and things like that, or even garments, right? Sometimes what is pictured doesn't come as is. So yes, that is something for you to remember. Hold on, let me
Some
just.
suppliers would give the sample for free and you would
Mm-hmm,
have to pay for the shipping only. Some
mm-hmm,
requires a small fee for the sample.
mm-hmm.
So just do your research. Either way, paying a small amount is still better than paying for, the minimum quantity order of, 10,000, 100,000, and then not being able to sell it. So
Right.
it's always best to get the prototype, the samples first. Then you
Mm-hmm.
could, this way also, you get a lot of samples, then you try different types, and then you find the best one, and then communicate with the supplier to tweak it till it's perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and then proceed with your first order.
That's right. Actually, there was this seller on TikTok. She has been selling eco packaging for years, and but because of COVID, right, she couldn't travel. So she just bought, I think, $1 million worth of packaging based on word, just that, and trust. Because there was a lot of communication between the factory, the manufacturer, and herself and her team, and it went on for a few months. So she already felt the trust factor. But once she made that payment,
They
that's
went
it.
gone, right? I
They
saw this
ghosted her.
TikTok too.
Yeah,
We're
they
probably
ghosted
following the
her.
same TikToker. Yeah, they
Perhaps.
ghosted. She paid the
So,
deposit, right, of a couple
correct.
tens of thousands.
Mm-hmm. So even though you have been communicating with the supplier ongoing for a few months without meeting them, there is still a risk factor. So don't take that risk if possible. The next thing would be finding your unique selling point, right? So, find your best competitor. Try to see what works for them, what's not working for them. Test your competitors' products. List out the good, list out the bad. Research what's selling in your markets and also other markets. You don't want to restrict yourself just to one country. Maybe you want to see what's working for other countries and tweaking the product based on the other countries or other markets' needs. Get insights from the manufacturer because they have been manufacturing for years. They have more experience than you. They know what is trending, what's working, and perhaps you can work on a customized product with them. So yeah, that is something that to consider. Another thing is to, so I just let me just flash this, right, so that you don't forget. Hold on. So study the competition, right? Another thing would be to visit your competitor retail outlets, because sometimes we always think that, yeah, e-commerce is always online, but we forget that they do have physical stores, and you can actually go to their store, see what's working for them, what products are hot. You can talk to their salespeople, get their feedback, and of course, when you go online, you can see the reviews, what the customers are complaining about, what the seller is ignoring and avoiding and not actually solving the problem. You come in, you be the hero, right?
You
You
go
can
to their
also.
Facebook, you check out the comments. You go to their
Mm,
Instagram, you check out the comments because the comments come from the customers.
customers, yes, and even marketplaces. Check out the reviews there. Also, you can even join the loyalty clubs, join their newsletters, see how they communicate with the customers or not communicate with the customers. That is your bullet, right? Another thing could be about your packaging. If you are selling offline and online, packaging differs. Usually, when you're selling online, the customers are not so bothered about how the aesthetics of the packaging is. But when you are selling offline, then when you're putting your products on the shelf, you want to capture your customers' attention, right? So this plays a differences, a plays a big deal, plays a big role. So when you're offline, maybe you want to package a product to maybe repurpose it in a way. There was one posting on Facebook recently where the aircon supplier uh actually made a box which could be repurposed into a cat house. So
Ah,
there yeah, so there was like, oh, and huh? So there were two reactions to it. Non-cat people will be like, what's the point? But people who love
that's
cats,
me.
they were like, yeah, right? They were like, well, that's super cool, man. I want to get that aircon unit or aircon brand because I can use the box again. It's not a like a super duper unique idea, but it's something simple enough to just do, right? And have people talk about it. So that could be a brand
Yes.
awareness thing.
And I've used before these repurposed packaging. I once bought baju, I bought some clothes, and the packaging, the cardboard packaging could be turned into a paper bag. And I actually
Mm.
used that paper bag until, there was water and then it slowly
Disintegrated.
disintegrated, yes. But it worked, right? And also some of the packaging, the boxes, the cardboard box are really sturdy and they also designed it so it's not just brown. There's some beautiful patterns. And I actually reuse those boxes to store my, trinkets and all the things. Instead of having to go and buy an organizational storage, I actually just reuse the
Re-
boxes because they are chantik and there's their brand on it. So I, as a
Mhm.
consumer, I'm reminded of your brand if you put it on your packaging.
Exactly, good point. But if you are selling online only, your packaging needs to be sturdy enough to hold whatever you're selling.
Yep.
Because there was a recent package that my husband bought. Oh no, we bought.
Mm,
Yeah, well, we bought a cat food bag, and it came um packed in a black plastic bag, just like that. But I think because it's heavier, they couldn't find a box to fit it, right? So it's fine. But what they did was actually they on the label on the courier slip, they actually had a stamp there to say, Abang Courier, please handle this package with care. Our customers love you. So it's quite cute. So you can actually have that on your packaging as well, or a stamp, something easy so that you can just put it on any packaging that you sell on, right? Also, because now people are talking that, because e-commerce is booming, there's a lot of plastic everywhere. You can actually opt for sustainable packaging. There are plastics that are recycled from plastics that are found from the sea, for example. So maybe work with suppliers like that, right? So this is something that make people talk. So it's beyond just packaging. It's actually selling your brand as something that cares about the environment and fits the core purpose or core values of your customers, right? Okay, so one more thing to remember is if you are selling offline and online, your offline packaging should also sell your social media. That means you should have your Instagram uh, uh,
handle.
uh, handle there, your Twitter or your Facebook page or website, things that people can help people find you online. So sometimes they don't know that you're online, right? They just go to the store, and they see that something's nice there, but they don't realize that they could actually buy online. They don't have to go to an actual store to buy your product. Another thing that's important is to know if there's a demand for your product. So sometimes we hangat-hangat, we just say, oh, this is so happening, I also want to sell it. So uh what you can so
So how
so
to
basic
know? So how to
exactly
know if
is
there's a
so
demand?
what you need to do is basically, hold on, let me just share my thing. Okay, you need to do your research, right? So there are ways to find out. You can use this tool. This is called Trend Hunter. It's free. You can just basically click can search whatever products, what products that you think you want or plan to sell, put it in the search button, and then see what comes out. This also works with Google Trends. So Google Trends is great because you can even see what products are doing well in what months. So obviously, if you're selling clothes which are for winter, then you know when the peak months are. Or if you're selling electronic products, maybe during the holiday season, that's when it starts to peak. But these Google Trends are in real time. You can also do that, so you know the trends throughout the months, and you know what people are searching for. So in that sense, you can also use keyword planner. So you put in the word, the product that you are intending to sell, and see how many people are actually searching for that product, right? Of course, if you decide that you want to sell on marketplaces, you can check out the categories that are already happening in these marketplaces, and then you can go deeper dive. For example, you can see, okay, this is um just Nescafe Classic, something quite basic, right? But you can see that there are already 219 customers just for this one product, right? Um, and then there's like Opolo chocolate milk silk, stick wafer. That's how much they're selling. You can even see where people are buying from, which states which states the sellers come from. You can also see the reviews from the customers. So yeah, look at this non-stick cookware, 409. So a lot of people are buying cookware even online, not just buying from supermarkets or department stores anymore. So this is
Yeah.
something that will open your eyes. If you don't know what you want to sell yet, this is a great place to start. And of course, when you're developing your process, there are steps to consider. So when you're looking at your competitor listings, this is just a recap basically of what we mentioned earlier. Look at what the feedback of the customers are, what your competitors' selling points are. Check the reviews, check the Q&As, check out the images that they're using, what the sales copy they use in their websites, or their marketplaces, in their descriptions, in their social media platforms, and even in their newsletters if they have any, right? So you can identify their likes, their dislikes, their wants, their needs, the features, and the benefits. And if you think, okay, maybe you want to go one step further, you want to sell a different sort of backpack, but you don't know what makes a good backpack. So this is where you can actually purchase a good backpack and cut it down into parts, and reverse engineer it so you know what goes into a good bag, and find out the 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 costings of this particular bag. You can send the specs to a manufacturer, and you can break down it into different, like, linings, waterproof linings, bottle holders, zip holders. These little features are what makes a bag different. And once you know the breakdown of these different elements, you are able to customize the bag based on a customer's budget. So you can have the low end bags, you can have the mid range bags, you can have the high end bags, because you already know what cost goes into each element. Also
Yes, and
function,
and
yeah.
if you think the market is already saturated, think again, because when Hanis talked about backpack, you make me think
Mm,
of gimbal backpacks.
mm,
Our gimbal,
mm-hmm.
our gimbal that we bought, right?
Stabilizer, uh-huh.
The stabilizer. There aren't a lot of backpacks for that gimbal.
Mm, because
There's
it's a weird shape, right?
It's a weird shape, and the ones that I found are sold out. My point is,
Right.
there's not enough people. So anyone who wants to make bags, here's an idea: make bags for those gimbals, because people are looking for a small, nice, compact bag that isn't as clunky as a camera bag, but still provides protection. So it's really not big, not small. And yeah, that's one idea if you want to sell something.
Actually, that's true. And there are now so many content creators out there, right? They have their green
Yeah,
screens, they have the gimbals, like you said, they
yeah,
have small gadgets, mics,
mm,
and things like that. So they don't want a professional, huge camera bag. So
yes.
a starter kit bag could work.
A
Yeah,
starter
good
kit bag,
idea.
exactly. because then
Mm-hmm.
I've been carrying it around. Then I put it into my paper bag, and then weird bags that doesn't provide protection, or I'm just carrying it and tie my arm because
Yeah.
I don't
If
have a proper bag for it.
Yep, doesn't look so glamorous. Another thing would be, meeting compliance standards. So
Yeah,
if you, right? So if you're bringing electronics in from China, right, and you just randomly picking out products without knowing whether they meet the Cerium standards, for example, that you're taking a big risk, because if anything happens to your customers, your business can go bust when they complain and things like that. So you need to know industry standards, and you need to know the certifications needed to be submitted to along with your product, and what the market standards are. So legal standards, industry standards, certifications of these products. You can also test your products with influencers. For example, if you are not into the big ticket items, you're selling smaller items like scarves or
food.
cosmetics or food or toys or something like that, right? You before you launch the super duper version of the product, you can do a mini launch, a mini test launch. So this is where your friends, your influencers, micro influencers can actually share the product with their followers, or they can also use the product and give you feedback so that you can improvise the product before launching the more perfect version of it. Okay. So this is what I wanted to highlight. Wait, let me just show you that. So
Yeah, just to
launch
add
your
on,
product.
yeah, just to add
Mm,
on that point, if you plan
mm,
to do that, then maybe it's a good idea to create a wait list or an opt-in on your website. So when the influencers do share about their products, you would probably see a surge of interest for a
mm-hmm,
short time, and you would want to capture that. So for the influencers followers that discover your product through this and are interested, you don't want them to just go to your Instagram page, for example, and then no action. So you want to capture them. So probably put in a, subscribe, share your email to get the
product
latest
to try.
information, to get the product when it launches,
Yeah.
or sign up now for pre-order, sign up now for waitlist, and get 10% off, or get 2 items for free, something like that. So in that way, you're not actually wasting the attention that you get from selling, because since your products aren't launched yet, unless you
Yes.
already have your products already available to buy.
Yeah. And you can even spread the word by asking them to tag their friends, for example, and they get something free. Okay, and then the next point would be, yeah, so launching your product at 80% ready. First, for one thing would be that, if you are launching something unique, and it's new to the market, and people giving feedback, and before, but when you're not the only one watching your competitors are also watching you. So when they see that this product is, building traffic, building traction, people are starting to flock to it, they also want to copy you and launch their own version of the product.
Yeah,
So if you're launching it
like
perfect,
reels.
yes, right? So if they're launching it for perfect in order, they already have all the tests done and all the good reviews coming in, the competitor can just come in and swoop and everything's done for them, ready made in a platter for sale. But if you're selling it at 80% perfect condition, perfect readiness, you have time to get the feedback from your new users, beta users. Your competitors are seeing this and they're getting kanchong and they're launching their own product. But once they launch their product, it takes time, right? You can already launch the better version of your product. So you're always like 1 or 2 steps ahead of your competitor. So that's a tip that we wanted to share. Another thing
Interesting.
would be, yeah. Another thing would be choosing your suppliers. There are big suppliers, there are small suppliers, some with big minimum requirements, minimum order requirements or MOQs, and they are what I say. Some who can only deliver maybe twice a year or 6 times a year. So you need to know all these terms and conditions. You also need to make sure that they have the quality standards that will be able to meet your standards, your values, and their values should be similar. Also, whether the manufacturers are in their own right innovative, or do they just copy stuff? So do they rely on you to give them prototypes for them to just make, or do they make the products and then they send you to prototypes? There are also trading companies, like, if you don't know where to go directly to suppliers, you can use trading companies. They are the middlemen who will negotiate on your behalf, or you can go direct to manufacturer. So these are the options that you can consider. In terms of payment terms, also some are more flexible, some are more strict. So all these things need to be ironed out before you select who you want to work with. What else? Yeah. So I guess I can actually do a recap. It's already 1 o'clock. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So the recap would be finding the right product based on needs, based on problem solving, finding your unique selling point over what's in the market, studying the competition, knowing that there is a demand for your product, test your product, and even you can even make the product in the plant or in the factory, so you can test the products in the plant itself. And then don't overdevelop. When it's about 80% ready, you can start launching it. Choose the right supplier to work with, and make that one item for yourself to test and use. So yeah, I guess that's really what we wanted to share today. If you need more, information, or you have your own experience to share, as usual, do leave your comments below. Um, Hopefully, you can, share this video with those you think are on this journey of, purchasing their products for their store, or finding the right products. And yeah, I guess that's it for me.
About the finding a company that aligns with your values. For example, if you're doing cosmetics, right? If you're doing cosmetics and they formulate a formula, for example, a liquid lipstick, you need to know, would this formula be available for forever, or would they change it without you knowing? Just, what you really should read the fine terms, find out what are the terms. If it ends, what would they replace it with? If they are really, if they say what they're creating is vegan or cruelty free, what are the certifications to support that? Because you don't want to lie to your customers, right? So do your due diligence. If the formula ends, would they recreate a new one? How do you maintain the quality? Because then you could preamp and tell your customers, this is limited edition and such and such.
That's right. At one point I was buying cat food from a few stores. So this one particular store, he brings in a certain brand of cat food, and he was saying that they would just change factories, and when they change factories, the quality changes too. So
Yeah.
yeah, these things happen. So hopefully, it can be disruptive, and customers can actually just drop out because they don't feel that the product is as good as before. So if possible, and this is a big brand, so I guess you cannot avoid it. You just have to make best of it. Yeah.
What's
Right.
that?
So yeah, so my husband was saying Coca-Cola also did that. They changed their flavor.
Exactly. Oh my
Yeah.
God, my husband said that too. He said, "Oh, Coca-Cola tastes different now." I said, "They're saying," he was like, "No, it's different." Okay.
So true
So
core
your
friends will
consumers,
know.
core friends, your consumers, your diehard fans, they would know if you change your product. Yeah, Coca-Cola, some other food, cereals and such. When you change it up, your consumers would know.
Yeah. All right then. So thank you for joining us, and do follow our page Antas Solutions, and do follow us on YouTube as well. Thank you for supporting us. It means a lot to us. Have a great weekend,
And
everybody,
thank
and
you,
see
Josephine,
you.
for joining us.
Thank you, Josephine. I'll see you next time. See you next week, next Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. Bye.
Bye.